Part 2 of the FEH Update 9.5 Refined is going to cover Winter Bernadetta, plus the legendary remixes for Deirdre and Myrrh. Winter Bernie is a very simple glass cannon mage cav. She may be frail, but Bernie is bringing out the firepower with this refine. First grants plus 3 speed, and at start of turn, if within 2 spaces of an ally, Bernie grants Paranoia and Breath type cooldown to herself and allies. She also deals 1 damage to those units. If under full health or Bernie has an active penalty, she gets bonus attack and speed equal to 6, plus 10% of her flat speed. She deals true damage equal to 20% speed in combat, and has 30% damage reduction for first attacks. Like Marianne, Bernie is taking a unique trait from her newer ults. Brave Bernie's Paranoia is a Desperation and Vantage status. It requires the user to be hurt, which Bernie will provide each turn. For Vantage, it will work against units with the same range as the user, but to Vantage the opposite range, you need the enemy to have 3 negative statuses. Unfortunately, this Bernie inflicts no penalties, so you're fully dependent on your allies to debuff. Regardless, Paranoia is quite strong. Desperation and Vantage are great for glass cannons. It does have its counters though. If Bernie does get hit, I don't think her 30% damage reduction is going to save her. Further refined, Bernie gets Fortress 4 Kanto with Slang. If initiating or near an ally, Bernie gets plus 6 attack and speed, full no follow-up effects, and then true damage equal to 5 plus the damage she has taken times 2. Bernie needs to have lost 8 HP to get the max 21 true damage. Slang and Breath type cooldown is great, and Kanto's always nice. Desperation with no follow-up means guaranteed doubles if outspeeding. Last, Bernie has 2 true damage perks, one for 20% speed scaling and another for 21 true damage if hurt enough. Winter Bernie is full on offense. If she can't finish the enemy off, she will be in trouble. For builds, Bernie could wait 8 turns to lose 8 HP, or you could just run Resonance. If you can get to 45 HP, Bernie would lose 5 HP as combat begins. She'll get most of her true damage from her Refine, and she'll add another 10 from Resonance plus the 50% DR Piercing. Paired with Desperation no follow-up for doubling and Slang plus Breath type cooldown, Bernie can do some good damage. 3 true damage sources, a ton of attack and speed, and she can proc a Luna on her second hit. To further empower her stats, you could use Verge of Death to ignore at start of turn debuffing. Insight attack and speed would be fine for self-buffing, but Insight Hone will also buff your team. Very good with the Paranoia part. I forgot to mention it for Arete, but Mage Cavs can use Far Resound, which is a combination of Resonance and Fortress 4. Bernie's Refine already has the built-in Kanto, so you could just use regular Resonance 4. Now for other skills, the Flare Strike combo's fine, just watch out for Breath and Life type healing. Bernie has low speed and res by default. You could also use low echo though, since there's not as many other options. To screw around with Vantage, you could try to run close counter. Mages can't use Prime 4, so Winter Bernie won't get as much stats. Additionally, this Bernie doesn't have Brave attacks like her Brave ult. This will make her Vantage cheesing a little tougher. If you want Dilfray's Brave hits, you could pair her with Harmonic Marissa, same for other Paranoia allies. If you want to get creative, Bernie's HP loss can lead into Ardent Sacrifice or Reciprocal Aid type tactics. Do be careful about having healing teammates, as having full HP is going to turn Paranoia off. Now if you run Resonance, then Bernie can also take further damage with things like Fury skills. Double Fury could lead to enough HP loss to trigger an ally's Wings of Mercy 4. All in all, Winter Bernie getting Paranoia is very nice. It's a counterpoint effect, but Desperation and Vantage in one status is always crazy. You may need to be a little paranoid though if you run into Hardy Bearing. Legendary Deirdre gets a nice tune-up. She's a blue infantry mage with high attack and res. She has low defense, but that may not matter. Now starting with Deirdre's Remix Special, it got renamed to Balanced Circlet. This 2 cooldown special boosts damage by 40% res and has full DR Piercing. If any special is ready or is triggered in the current fight, and Deirdre can make an attack, she gets 40% damage reduction for the next attack. Last, Deirdre has a Miracle effect. This one is considered a non-special miracle. The big change is that instead of being a once per map activation, Deirdre can proc Miracle every single fight. Not sure looping Miracle is balanced, but many other units have this ability, so Deirdre is just getting updated. If you only hit her one time, you are not killing her without the anti-Miracle effect. To make it tougher for the enemy, Deirdre gets unpierceable % DR before Miracle even kicks in. She also has full DR Piercing on the special, which is quite nice. For her weapon, Spirit Force Writ, there are some small base changes. This is a Slang Dragon Effective Tome. If initiating or within 3 spaces of an ally, Deirdre inflicts -6 attack and res and has flat damage reduction equal to 20% res. She gets a free follow-up attack, disables adaptive damage, and if her res is higher than the enemy at start of combat, she inflicts attack and res debuffs equal to the difference in res stats. Previously, this weapon required Deirdre to have 15 or more flat res than the enemy, and she could get a -12 attack and res debuff. This has gotten bumped up to -16 debuffs if she has 16 or more flat res. Along with the new flat DR effect and her new 40% unpierceable DR, Deirdre will get a lot of new bulk before we even consider Miracle. Further refined, at start of turn or start of enemy phase, if within 2 spaces of an ally, Deirdre grants +6 attack and res, debuff neutralization, and the times pulse effect. If allies stay within 2 spaces of Deirdre, she can give them times pulse 4, which is the -1 cooldown after combat if at max cooldown. For her own fights, Deirdre inflicts another -6 debuffs, she gets true damage equal to 20% res, and heals 7 HP after combat. Deirdre will also get the times pulse 4 effect. Basically, Deirdre pre-charges her now DR piercing special. She has a lot of attack and res debuffing, and has 40% DR with flat damage reduction. Deirdre can loop Miracle since she heals, and she is still a good old dragon slaying mage that ignores their adaptive damage. Support-wise, times pulse is really good. Deirdre can work with Lagu's friend builds that wanted to run Emblem Ike, and just in general, free cooldown is always solid. If you want to get the extra attack and res debuffs from the flat res comparisons, then Deirdre can keep her natural Stillwater 4 or upgrade to Crystalline. As part of her remix, Deirdre adds attack and res Discord for debuffing. With her res field buffs and res debuffs, that just helps hit the max bonus for the res comparison. Discord adds more attack and res debuffing in combat and extra true damage. If you would rather have Sabotage and Schism, you could use the new Havoc variants instead. Now for C-skills, Deirdre could run a ploy since she doesn't overlap any of those effects, and we're already using Discord with flat res stacking. The only tough part is that there aren't many stat variations of these skills where we can cover all 4 stats. Ideally, you'd want something like attack and res Discord with speed and defense ploy. There are 2 effects Deirdre would like. One is no guard since she can recharge Balanced Circlet when getting hit back, guaranteed. We have Temple Sacred Seals for this. The other effect is no follow-up. Sadly, Deirdre doesn't boost any of her speed stats, and getting doubled is one way for Miracle to fail. We do not want this to happen against these super slow tanks. If you don't care about flat resistance, you could run Finish 4 since Deirdre pre-charges her special. With Miracle looping, you could run Close Counter to be annoying. It's not the craziest, but with all her attack debuffing and new % DR plus flat DR, you could try to not tank defense with Stillwater penalties. You could perhaps have some fun with bonus double stat stacking. If you do stick to just res stacking, then Deirdre might be able to shut down a lot of dragons' kits. A lot of dragons require out-resing the enemy. If they fail to out-res Deirdre, that could mean no Scowl or no Dragon's Roar. You do need to watch out for Dragon's Flame though. In the end, Legendary Deirdre joins the Miracle Looping group. Thanks to Marnie, everyone should be prepared for these types of units, but it's still an annoying effect. I am a little worried about Deirdre getting doubled a lot. It might be better to try and get the KO first by initiating instead of just sitting back with Miracle in hand. Last refined for this month is Legendary Myrrh. Good timing with Sacred Stones being on the Switch now. Hopefully new players got to see Myrrh absolutely destroy those poor endgame monsters. In FEH, this Myrrh is a flying blue dragon with a defense focus. There are quite a lot of new effects. Starting with Godly Breath, Myrrh has Slaying, and if initiating or within 3 spaces of an ally, Myrrh inflicts -5 to all stats. She deals true damage equal to the number of positive statuses active in the fight times 5. Myrrh has a free follow-up attack and will get 40% regular DR against all attacks, also against AoE specials. Let's cover the refined part as well. For foes within 3 rows or 3 columns, Myrrh inflicts -5 stats in combat. She also gives her team 50% DR piercing against those enemies. If foes initiate on Myrrh or they have high HP, she inflicts more debuffing equal to 10% flat defense. Myrrh will then have flat DR equal to the number of positive statuses active times 3. In total, Myrrh inflicts -10 debuffs with another round based on 10% flat defense. If Myrrh or the enemy have a total of 5 positive statuses, then she's going to get a max 25 true damage and 15 flat DR. Now, where do we get 5 statuses? For whatever reason, Darkling Guardian also got renamed to Darkling Guard 2. This is Myrrh's unique C-skill. At start of either phase, grant +6 defensive res, the Fallout Prevention status, the Out Shield status, the Warp Bubble status, and last the Bulwark status to Myrrh and her target ally within 3 spaces. This target ally will be Myrrh's support partner or the highest defense ally on your team. For more effects, Myrrh gets Content 2. If near an ally, she gets +5 to all stats, neutralizes attack debuffs and the enemy's attack field buffs. Myrrh gets 7 flat DR and will have bread type cooldown. So, Darkling Guard now grants 4 statuses. Out Shield is amazing for the high defense flyer, and Myrrh got tired of everyone getting Warp Bubble, so she went ahead and also stole Bulwark from the Gatekeeper. Like her Valentine's ult, Myrrh can share her buffs with one ally, so great to set up a bulky frontline with anti-mobility. Combat-wise, Myrrh gets 4 out of 5 statuses for her true damage and flat DAR effects. She adds breath type cooldown to her slaying, all good stuff. As part of her remix, Myrrh got Dragon Scales, which is interesting. It overlaps 2 effects with the Refine, being a free follow-up and 50% DR piercing. 75% DR piercing is still good, but 2 follow-ups is a little strange. It can counter follow-up denial skills, but no follow-up will delete both effects at once. Myrrh does get bonus speed with all her stats, it's definitely not a waste. One reason to keep Dragon Scales is that it can grant up to -11 attack, defense, and res. Myrrh needs to win a flat defense or res check. The other reason is that it gives -1 instant cooldown before getting hit. Myrrh is not doing any Legue's friend type stuff unless you get extra cooldown, but with slaying and breath type cooldown, she can charge the 4 cooldown Dragon Flame. Myrrh has always been the higher defense dragon, so finally a defense focused Dragon Scale fits her well. Ignis level damage nuking with 75% DR piercing is spicy, and Myrrh will heal 30% of her max health. If the enemy had a special ready, she would just get on 40% unpierceable DR, that's going to stack with the 40% from her weapon, and then a whole lot of flat damage reduction. Sadly, if you missed it, gonna have to wait for Toon Tiki's next appearance. For other skills, Myrrh can keep defense from his Unity. I assume this is why she only neutralizes attack debuffs, because Unity will take care of the rest. You could swap this out for Scowl, but Dragon's Flame can just tank the special instead. If you want to stack more resistance, Myrrh can swap over to Dragon's Roar. Additionally, she has the option to use those Havoc and Discord B skills. Interesting if you wanted more team support. If you need flat resistance or just defense for Dragon Scales, you could use Fortifications. Myrrh isn't the best initiator, but we have more ways to set up Divine Veins. The main reason for the Fortress is to just get the flat DR on specials. Speaking of flat DR, technically Edge Scales could work for Myrrh. This is the speed focused B skill that gives no follow-up, 10 flat damage reduction, and makes Myrrh harder to double. Obviously, she's not the fastest, but her Refine doesn't ignore speed, and Myrrh could be a very solid Frozen Abuser. If you got the new Ancient Naga, she could provide Frozen. Myrrh can give Naga out shield, and Naga can neutralize dragon effectiveness. It's a neat little double flying dragon duo. In conclusion, Legendary Myrrh ups her anti-mobility game and shares it with a friend. Myrrh benefits nicely from the new dragon skills and is another 50% DR piercing support. She can be more flexible if you focus on certain stats, otherwise she is just set up to be a good old Flying Fortress frontliner. That'll wrap up the 9.5 refines. Let me know your thoughts and good luck getting these skills you want. If you missed part 1, we covered Marianne, Volamel Morgan, Louise, and Arete. Decent refined batch this month, and stuff like Marianne's Shadow Dance is pretty crazy. Next FEH video, I'm going to be covering the Fallen banner for 2025. As usual, a whole lot going on with those units. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.